today. We look forward to the WASSCE 2025, and as that examination is kicking off on August 20, we want to discuss the preparations, security arrangement especially, for candidates in conflict zones such as in Boko, Nalerigu, and Nkwanta, and all other pertinent issues concerning that particular examination. And we've been joined in the studio by the head of public affairs with the West African Examination Council, John Kapi. He is our guest today. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming through.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. So, in terms of WASSCE, how far so far?
Good morning. So far, I would say so good because we've started with the project work. The candidates are already working with their project work. Some of them have also started with their practical work, especially the home economics students. Some of the science students have also started with their practicals. And this morning we have some of the written papers going to be started.
So it means that the writing is starting today.
Today.
Over the weeks, what has been happening is the practicals and the project work.
Project work, that's correct. Yeah.
So how has it been for students countrywide?
Well, we would say that we have had interactions with a number of the candidates. A majority of them have been spoken to in terms of what we call sensitization. We try to sensitize them in preparation towards examination. There are a lot of things that some of them, unfortunately, are ignorant about, and so you have to draw their attention to it. So we've held sensitization programs for a number of the candidates in preparation towards the examination. We have about 461,640 candidates who are writing the exam this year, 2025.
Okay. Well, we know that prior to these exams, there were issues in some parts of the country, but we'll get there. Let's deal with the preps so far. So in terms of the practicals, they are going well. 461,640 candidates are writing. What about the preparations in terms of the, how do you call the papers getting to them and all the materials that they will need in writing?
Well, we have so far been able to print the question papers. We've sent also, normally for the WASSCE, the stationery goes along with the question papers. So whoever is keeping custody of the questions also keeps custody of the stationery, except for the objective answer cards, which we would present to the schools ahead of time so that the supervisors can prepare them for the exam. So we've printed, normally we print in batches based on the timetable. So for the first 3 weeks, all the questions are ready. They have been transported. As we speak, every single person has arrived at their destination ready for the examination this morning. So I would say that we've had quite a smooth process in the preparation towards the examination in terms of printing, packaging, and then dispatching our staff to the field for the exercise.
Are there issues of any owing and therefore would affect marking of the papers we get to hear over the years?
No, as we speak, the job is done in stages. We have even before the printing starts, we have the moderating meetings where subject officers and subject experts sit down to look at the questions and select the ones appropriate for any specific examination. So that stage is done, and then we also have the pre-examination stage, that is the printing, the typesetting and printing. That one has also been done. Now, in all of these situations, we need money. Okay, so I would say that for now, we've been provided funds enough to be able to cover up to the point where we are right now. So I can say that for the entire period of the examination, we should be able to go without any complaints.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
I'm interested in will be how do you select invigilators? How do you select those who even set the examination questions? But let's just take you just a little back further. There are a few people that are quite confused about the mandate of WAEC. Some people think that GES, some people think that the Ministry of Education have a hand in a few things that you do. So just reiterate the real core mandate of WAEC today, and we'll pick it up from there.
So WAEC is supposed to be, or we are an international examining body. We are supposed to conduct exams in the public interest, and then we award certificates. Now, in every country that we work in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education. All right. Now, the issue between us, not an issue per se, but the collaboration is between us and the Ghana Education Service, because they are supposed to be the policy implementers, if you want. And so examinations actually belong to them. The syllabuses would belong to them. They would come out with, let's say, we have new subjects we want to examine our candidates on. We want to, skew our examination along these lines, and therefore we want our candidates examined in this and that area. So we have the expertise, and so we bring our, expertise to bear on how we structure the examinations. Now, when it comes to syllabuses, we have NACA, the National, Curriculum Development, I think, Curriculum Authority. I've forgotten the full meaning of the
We also just stick to NACA sometimes.
Yeah, we just say NACA, but actually it's just escaping.
It's the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment.
Assessment, that's correct. Okay. Thank you very much. I should know that. So they are the ones.
There are a lot of things in your head, so we'll forgive you.
They help us to craft the syllabuses, because it's a broad area. And if you want to teach, you have to ensure that there are specific areas that are teachable. And when you come out with the syllabus, you also elicit from the teaching syllabus what we call the examination syllabus, because not everything you teach that you can examine. There are some of them you can examine orally, others you cannot. And so when we are done with all of that, then we decide that, this is the way the examination is going to go. We come out with the structure of the examination, and then we send it across the country. All the experts get to see it, and they get to know that these are the areas we need to teach our candidates. These are the areas that we are going to examine our candidates on. Then when we are done with all of that, a subject officer, like previously I used to be a subject officer, I handled English language for quite a while. Okay. Now, so you would take a look at your syllabus, you look at the area that's normally an examination blueprint. You take the blueprint and look at it, look at the areas that you need to set questions on. So you look out for subject experts who can help you to set questions on some of the areas. Now, so you take one examiner and tell him, for example, set for me questions on recall, maybe just 10 questions on recall. Another person will set questions for you on synthesis. Another person will set questions for you on application. All of this will come together to make one paper. Now, the reason is that we don't allow one person to set an entire paper. In our system, we always say that we don't trust anybody. We don't even trust each other. Because we never know who is talking beyond the level that they have to talk. So when these questions come, we, as a subject officer, look at them, you fine-tune them. Then the next stage is what we call the moderating stage. There we have a new set of people, apart from those item writers. Right. We call them items because you don't have to go talking questions. People get to know what you are talking about. So the item writers are not part of it. So you sit down with these subject experts, you look at the questions, and then you look at the syllabus, look at your blueprint as well, to ensure that whatever it is you are going to examine falls within the demands of the subject that have been taught. So when the moderating meetings are done, the subject officer goes back, sits down, and then will select from these areas I mentioned earlier and put them together and make them one paper. So at the end of the day, you, the item writer, wouldn't know whether item 1 I wrote is going to be examined in 2025 or in 2026. The moderators have moderated. The items are many. You, the final, the subject officer, will then put them together, and then you go out there. You go for the typesetting, the printing is done, and then it appears before the candidate as a question paper.
There seems to be a big jump from the time that you have selected, then it appears to the candidate. Let's get to see on the value chain when you have done the question selection after, within the moderation, when you have the questions ready, in terms of fairness and security, how does it move from here before it gets to the candidate?
Right. So as a subject officer, every subject officer has a safe in his office. And you are supposed to have an office to yourself. You are not supposed to share your office with anybody. And when you are compiling your paper, you do it alone. Nobody else is supposed to assist you for purposes of accountability. So once the moderating is done and I have received my question papers, they are in my safe. So I come and then in my own privacy, I spread them out. These ones are on recall, these ones on application, these are on synthesis, and so on. So I pick from here at random. Okay, then when I'm done, I put them together, then I begin to compile the paper. I write section A, section B, section C, of course with all the instructions. Answer only one question here, answer this, don't answer that, this one is compulsory. So when you are done, as subject officer, you go and do your typesetting. There's an area where you type the questions yourself. There's a program that we use, and everybody has been put through it, so they have an idea how it goes. So when you are done typesetting, we have staff who are supposed to be at the security printing department. They are the ones who receive these things, and then they fine-tune them, because a lot of the people are not too conversant with the typesetting. But once they are done, they put them in what we call our house style. And then, of course, they have all the rubrics over there. And then when they are done with this, you go back and do your proofreading. So when you come across any things that are ambiguous, any things that may elicit more than one response from the candidate, anything that will cause the candidates to be confused, you quickly change those items. And then when you are done, you leave it for the guys at the security printing department, so they start with the process of printing.
Okay.
That's some process.
Yeah.
That's some real process.
A long
one.
process, yeah.
In the examination hall, Kujo, if you want to come in the examination hall, what goes into the selection of supervisors or invigilators, if I might say? What's the criteria?
Well, earlier I mentioned that the job we do in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service. So what we do is that we have the mandate to get the questions, to moderate, to print, and bring it to the candidates. And the part GS place is to provide us with invigilators and supervisors. Okay. So those people are supposed to be actively teaching in that area. They are conversant with the area, and so they are the ones who are supposed to do the invigilation and supervision. With the private schools, we privately select people to go out there and supervise and invigilate the examination.
So earlier you gave us that the number of candidates expected to write in this exam is 461,640. How many are women? How many are girls? How many are boys? And again, what's the percentage increase or decrease over last year's?
So we have about 207,381 males and 254,259 females. This is about 0.22% above last year's figure that we used. I mean, the candidature for last year.
Okay. Now, in terms of the examination centers, do you also classify some centers as high-risk centers? And if you do, which are these for these exams?
So yes, we have some hotspots across the country. Normally, we wouldn't want to mention them before the examination for very good reasons.
Okay.
But then over the years, I think we put out some statistics when we held our stakeholder engagements across the country. We have some of the regions that are, high up the scale when it comes to examination malpractices. We've had issues with the Bono East and Ahafu regions. We've also had issues with the central region. We've had Ashanti region as well. So these are areas that we've had issues on, examination malpractices. And so certainly we would increase our presence in these areas in order that we're able to minimize and to the larger extent curb this issue of examination malpractice.
What about the issues about security? Do you have anywhere?
Before you go to security quickly, who are the key actors in examination malpractice? The candidates, the supervisors, who?
It's a big cartel. Now, let me use that for want of another expression. I say so because sometimes you accost people outside the examination environment, if I say environment, because there are some of the areas where you have in excess of about 24, 25 classrooms for one center only. And then you have people, and some of the schools are not walled. So you have people coming in from outside, sometimes with photocopied material, that they want to bring to the candidates. So you look at it, and then you can say that, for example, there are people who are outside and there are those who are inside. We have teachers, we have heads of school, all right? And then we have also the supervisors and invigilators. Because you see, I say so because if, for example, you have a class of over 30 candidates and there's supposed to be one invigilator, that is the way we do it. Each class of 30 takes one invigilator. Now, as invigilator, you are the one supposed to keep the room in such a way that nothing untoward happens. But if in your presence, people are able to sneak in, or with your assistance, they sneak in material, mobile phones and all that, then of course, you are culpable, all right? And then also, as a supervisor, it is not just a matter of being at a desk and writing notes or writing reports. Periodically, you walk across and ensure that your invigilators are doing the right thing. You know, so it's something that involves a whole number of people. Teachers are involved, heads of school are involved, supervisors, invigilators, townspeople are also part of it.
What are you doing over the years, or what have you done over the years to try and identify these cartel or this cartel and probably deal with them, because they are the reasons why we have a lot of these malpractices?
Well, as a council, we have situations where we've monitored some of these rogue websites. When I woke up this morning, I noticed that somebody had sent to me one site that is promising everybody ditto questions.
Okay.
Questions and answers and all of that. Let me just cite the example of the BEC. During the BEC, we had somebody who was, parading questions online. So we picked that up. We have a collaboration with the Ghana Police Service, the NIB. So we decided to ask the NIB to assist us. We picked the guy all the way in Bolga, from Accra. You know, and when he was picked up, we realized that he really didn't have the questions. He didn't have anybody sending him questions. All he did was to have people who take snapshots when the examination starts. When they post this, he also would capture that and retype it in a different font to make it look as if it is authentic. But when you look at the time he posts the questions, it is way beyond the time that the examination has started.
Okay.
You know, so these are people who are working, and later they mentioned to me that there is some kind of identity theft. So, for example, if I'm the one who is putting that out there, I will not use my own name.
Okay.
They use some other names, and sometimes they use the SIM and throw the thing away. So they can use the SIM, and it's difficult to trace them. So what we do is that we also try and trace these people. We try to see how best we can track them, and then we send out our monitors as well. We have specially trained monitors within the council that we send out there to monitor the exam for us. We have our own staff who are also going around. Thankfully, NIB has been very, very helpful. They also do. The National Security also does a good job. They also go around because they won't tell you where they are going, but they will send you reports of things that they've observed in the field. And then also we have personnel from the Ghana Education Service who go around and assist us to monitor, and then they send reports to us about certain things that are happening which they feel, which they know are certainly not right.
Interesting. Because you want a journey of security.
Yes, I'll get that. But aside the people who are doing this for financial gains, how has also the ranking of schools played a role in all of this? Because if my school is always ranking in the lowest, and of course my teachers are invigilating, I'll probably do something so that we have.
Yeah, so as a council, we have no business ranking schools because we don't run the schools.
Okay.
We do not have that, jurisdiction over any school. Okay. Our business is examination. So when it comes to school ranking, it is the Ghana Education Service that does the ranking. Okay. All that we do is when we release the results, we send out statistics of, the pass rate A1 to C6, D7, E8, F9, the percentages in terms of the total candidature. But we do not rank the schools because even when I go to the area where they are marking, I'm unable to tell which school scripts are being marked at a particular time. Even though in the database it is possible that you can find, oh, these scripts belong to, let's say, Accra High School, this ones belong to Laboni Senior High School, and so on. I mean, the results. But then we have no business ranking any school. All the ranking is done by the Ghana Education Service.
But do you see that as playing a role in all of this?
Yes, we held stakeholder engagements across the country because we're beginning to record very high numbers of examination malpractice. And so we decided to hold engagements with those involved. When I say those involved, not that they are involved in examination malpractice, but also help us to do the examination. So we had the district directors, we had regional directors, we had reps from the private schools. We invited some PTAs, we involved some chiefs, the police, and other security services that help us to run the examination. And some of the feedback we received indicated that some of them, some heads, have even been chastised for having their schools perform below par. And so they also go out there, in order that they don't get called bad names, they would go out there and try to ensure that their students do well. These are things that we ourselves haven't discovered, but which have come from the people that we engaged with. And specifically, they mentioned the school ranking. They also mentioned the contract. I think there's a performance contract that they have with the Ghana Education Service. These are things that are outside our operations, outside our jurisdiction. They have nothing to do with us. Our thing basically is examination.
Given that GES is the one that helps with the selection of invigilators specifically, how much discretion do you think that invigilators will have? I acknowledge that it's not directly under your mandate, but how much discretion? And I ask because of candidates' issues such as cramps for women, candidates' issues for maybe a headache. How much discretion do they have?
Before the examinations commence, we ask the supervisors to come for a briefing session. At the briefing session, they are told what to do and what not to do, what to do under certain circumstances. Now, for example, for each center, they are supposed to have a first aid unit where the candidates can be attended to when they have some of these issues that you've mentioned. So if a candidate happens to be ill in the course of the examination, they look at the initial treatment that can be given to help the candidate say the examination. Now, if it persists throughout the entire examination, the supervisor has a report form that he fills and sends it to us, describing the situation of the candidate at the time of writing the examination. We have internal processes that we can use in grading the person, even if they are unable to finish the entire examination because of ill health. So we have that briefing session. We tell them what they can do, what they cannot do, and what reports we expect from them to enable us to take, decisions that will not jeopardize anybody's future.
Take a trip to the...
Exactly. You gave us high-risk areas, but that didn't include the areas where we've known that they have security issues. So what's the plan?
So when the exams were to be, first of all, during the BEC, what we did, especially at the time, it was just Boko. So we did not have an examination depot in Boko. What we did was to have a depot at Zebila. So from Zebila, the examination officials, that is the district exam officials, would drive under police escort to Zebila, pick up the questions, go back, have the candidates write, and then return the scripts to our depot keeper at Zebila. That's what we did, and that's the same thing we wanted to replicate for the WASSCE. And then the Nalego issue occurred, and then there were also some pockets of disturbances in some schools within the Upper East in particular. So what we did was to be in touch with the local authorities, of course, with the collaboration of the Ghana Education Service. And then they told us that they had made adequate provision for security. They will be able to secure the entire area where the examinations will be written. We have about 3 centers within the Boko enclave itself. So what they've tried to do is that they are no longer having any day students everybody now has been sent to the boarding house.
Okay.
So you don't have to commute from home to school to write the examination. And then also we have our examination depot at Zebula, as I mentioned earlier. So the examination officials would go, pick up the questions, go and conduct the examination, of course, with the support of the security personnel who are in that area. And when exams are over, they return the scripts to Zebula. Now, we've also had, there was a problem in Zuarungu, also in the Upper East region. And so some of the candidates who hail from Boko have chosen to go back to Boko and write the exams. They don't want to write in Zuarungu because they feel safer in Boko than in Zuarungu. So provision has been for them also to go back. They have also been provided accommodation on campus, so they can stay in school and write the examinations without any difficulties. In Nalerugu, we also have been in touch with the officials over there. They indicate the place is safe. They have made enough provision for security. Again, they are ensuring that no candidate is loitering in the course of the examination. And so they believe that the candidates will be able to write over there. The same thing applies to Nkwanta. So in all these areas, we've been in touch with them, and we are in constant touch with our personnel in the regions so that they give us feedback as to, what the security situation is and then what can be done about it. But for now, we believe that whatever measures have been put in place are going to work for the smooth conduct of the examination. These are early days yet anyway. We hope that things will go well for us as we move on.
This should be hard for the young minds, writing exams under such security presence, as you make us aware that the security arrangement has been made. I mean, what arrangement has been made in terms of psychological to assist these kids cope with the situation they will be under? Because writing exams, even without security itself, is a whole ball game altogether. And then coupled with having security all around you just because of the situation.
Yeah, of course, I mean, even if there's just one invigilator in the room there, you know how much tension there can be on you. What has happened, and the information I have is that, yes, we have security around there, but they are not within the school compound. They have cordoned off the entire area. Nobody's allowed to move in or out unless you have, a relation with the examination. So that aside, the Ghana Education Service has made provision for the candidates within this area to receive some kind of counseling psychologically, because obviously you are wondering how even after examination you are going to go home. It's not just the examination, but even the aftermath. So we are told that they've made provision for all the examination candidates around the area to receive some kind of counseling in order that they would be able to have that peace of mind to go about the examinations peacefully.
Will we be marking their exams with some soft touch because of their situation?
Well, it is not for us to decide, but then it's a standard examination that when it comes to assessment, the standards are very, very important. You must have the validity of the examination. That is very, very important. And so when it comes to grading them, we cannot decide that for this particular people, this is how we are going to do it. If they are candidates who have certain medical conditions, we talk about those who are hearing impaired, those who are visually impaired, those who have cerebral palsy and all of that. So those people, we have provisions made for them. An environment is created where it's more like a classroom thing that they are doing. You don't put them in that strict condition of an examination hall. With those who are hearing impaired and visually impaired, they have extra time to do their work, and they have a more relaxed environment just because of their impairment. I almost use the word disability. It is not allowed these days. So that is what we can do for them. But these are, excuse my language, normal candidates. Okay, so that conversation hasn't come up yet. But then again, if you're looking at the validity of an examination, then you have to examine all of them on the same level.
And maybe in our final submissions, post the exams, the markers, is it the item writer or the moderators, or who sets the marking scheme? Is it the subject teacher, or who sets the marking scheme, and then who also selects those who will mark?
All right, so let's start with the marking scheme. The marking scheme is drawn in the course of moderating.
Okay.
All right, so if you, there's something called weighting. I mean, the weight you place on each segment or each part of the question. So section A maybe define a table, all right? So maybe that goes for just 2 marks. And you come to talk about how the table is made, that will give about 10 marks. And then what is the finishing? What are the finishing bits of it? That also has marks. Now, when the examination is done, there's another panel that sits down to look at the marking scheme. There, because the examination is international in nature, we have an international panel. So we have members from all the member countries, Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, the Gambia. So they would sit down and look at the marking scheme. Now we have what we call dummies. Dummies are live scripts. Live scripts as in what the candidates have written. So you select from the high-performing areas to the low-performing areas so that you don't have too much of those who are very good. You don't have too much of those who are not too good. You have a mix of them. We have chief examiners who come and select the scripts at random. Okay, so we run copies and then we give them to these experts. So they look at the scripts, look at the questions, and look at the scheme that was prepared at the time that the questions were being moderated. Okay. Now, at the moderating stage, there are times when you provide responses. But when the candidates write, you realize that they also provide responses that are relevant. You don't leave those out, otherwise you are going to shortchange those candidates. So what we do is that you look at them, the relevance of those responses they've given, and also to ensure that people have got the things right and not any misconceptions or misunderstanding of the questions. So based on that, they fine-tune the marking scheme. Now, when they are done, they bring it to the other examiners, and they also will look at it. That way, what we call the coordinating meetings. There they will sit down, and also they also have the dummies. They mark them award marks. You have to explain to your team leader why you are awarding a mark for this and why you are awarding a mark for that, just so that they get conversant with the marking scheme. Now, for those who mark, they are people who are actively teaching. We use them because they are the ones who are conversant with what the candidates are likely, to present or to produce in an examination situation. So they are teachers, to put this mildly. They are teachers, most of them in senior high schools and a few of them from the universities. Okay.
Mr. John Kapi, we're grateful to you for passing through this morning.
It's my pleasure.
And all the best to you and those at the council.
Thank you very much.
That has been our, big story, one of our big stories. This is still the AM show. Mr. John Kapi is the head of public affairs with the West African Examination Council. We'll take a quick break. We will return with more, so please.